The subsidies for the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare should not be extended. They should not be renewed. They should not be made permanent. They never should have been a thing in the first place. Whenever the federal government gets into the business of paying for something, that product, the price of that service or that item, that lease, whatever it is, skyrockets exponentially, grossly, terribly, astronomically. It just goes insanely high. Healthcare is not affordable. It is not affordable. If the price of something is, say, $1,400 and it's only seeming to be affordable to you because you're paying $200 a month and the government is paying $1,200 a month, then that item is not actually affordable because somebody is paying for it, and that somebody is the taxpayer. Subsidies are supposed to be enacted in times where perhaps you need to subsidize something to prevent something from going under. An example of this might be subsidizing a year or two of a farmer's crops because maybe there was some sort of environmental disaster that like caused farmers to produce less, or perhaps there was something that caused like cattle to die off or something, and so there's less to go around, and so in order to not have to charge Americans like $12 an apple or $87 for a pound of beef, the taxpayers have to subsidize that so these farmers don't go under or Americans can't afford these items. But in this particular case, what we've had is some of these insurance companies are making annual profits that are higher than some countries' total GDP. They don't need subsidies. They don't need them. United alone in 2024 made something like $24 billion in profits. And these are companies that are denying claims left and right, telling patients that they're not going to cover what their doctors are telling them they need. These subsidies should not be renewed. They have allowed a gross taking advantage of this situation where during a pandemic the government stepped in to pay for these subsidies, and now it's bonkers out of control. At some point the government has to say, we're $37 trillion in debt, and we can't, without any kind of checks and balances, trying to see if this is a fair market price for something like this, continue to pay this. And this idea that all of these Americans want these things extended, I don't think they truly understand that that's what this is. I do not get insurance on the marketplace. I get it through my employer. But I have all these taxes being pulled out, funding shit that I'm tired of funding. And I want to make it very clear, it's not that I don't want Americans to be able to afford healthcare. It's that I want Americans to be able to afford healthcare without insurance companies profiting at such a gross rate that their CEOs are making $20 million a year in a salary. That's crazy. While denying their customers the care, the health necessities that are required to keep them healthy. We don't even really truly need insurance companies. Direct pay for the majority of services should be a thing. It should be, okay, these checkups, annual exams, vaccines, just general, like, I have the flu, let me go in, take my temperature, look at my throat, prescribe me an antibiotic. These are not visits that should cost $400. When you see a doctor for 15 minutes, $50 should be sufficient. 75 maybe. But instead what we're doing is we're paying $200 a month for insurance, or $500 a month, or $700 a month, or $1,400 a month for a family, or $2,500 a month for a family, to be able just to do these simple things. And the crazy thing is we're starting to see that doctors' offices are not even really receiving that much of this care. We might pay our health insurance companies $400 a month and then go see a doctor maybe once a year if you're super healthy. And these insurance companies are getting, $6,000, $10,000 a year from us, and they're only paying out your doctor like $260 for the year. That's insane. So no, these Affordable Care Act subsidies need to stop, cease immediately. Let the insurance companies come at us with these fucking astronomical rates and let the American people fucking riot. Not against the government. I am not endorsing that, to be clear. Let them riot against United Healthcare. Let them riot against Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Let them say, fine, fuck it, cancel it. If I get sick, I'll take my chances. If I get really sick, instead of having paid these astronomical prices to you every single month, I'm gonna start having a savings account where, like, at the end of the year, instead of me paying you $6,000, now I have $6,000. If I get fucking sick, I'll go to Mexico. I'll go to Thailand. I'll go to Turkey. That plane ticket, that money in that account will fund that plane ticket. I'll go get treatment elsewhere if it really comes down to it. But if I don't get sick, well, now I can fix my house. I can go on vacation for fun. I can just have a down payment for a house after like 4 or 5 years of not getting sick. These insurance companies, we don't need them. If they're making $25 billion a year, we don't need them. We don't need to pay that. And as a taxpayer, I don't want to fund that. I want Americans to have affordable health care. I want Americans to be healthy. I want Americans to be able to afford other things rather than a contingency plan healthcare situation. This is fucking gross. And the idea that, like, the Democrats are being so, like, they're fighting for the underdog. Like, no. United Healthcare spent $9 million lobbying these Democratic lawmakers to do exactly this, to continue to use your taxpayers to pay these subsidies. And it's fucking gross. It's fucking gross. I am not a Republican, I am not a Democrat, but that is fucking gross. They are taking money from the health insurance companies to fund their own campaigns, and then in turn agreeing to use your money to triple, quadruple, 10 times over pay these insurance companies in the form of these subsidies. So in essence, you, the taxpayer, are essentially paying to get these Democrats elected, and then you're paying for these insurance companies to make GDP fucking profits. Like, their CEOs are making $25 million a year in salary, and you're subsidizing all these Americans' healthcare. That's fucking gross. Like, we need to sit down and actually figure out a solution to actually make healthcare affordable and not allow this gross negligence spending of taxpayer money. Rant over.